did bike sharing start in China? Why did this whole bike sharing market really take off in China? What was it about China that led to this?
In full disclosure, this is not my favorite sector, bike sharing.
Doesn't Qingming have an investment in
We do.
bike sharing?
We do in Mobike, and I was talking with the speaker from Mobike earlier, and so we picked the one that we felt had the best chance to succeed, and that's usually what we do in a sector like that in China, where you have a lot of competitors, and it's coming down very rapidly now. I think at one point there were probably 20 companies that were trying to do this, and now they're down to just a handful. And I think that Mobike and OFO are the two that are likely to be successful. Mobike, we feel, has a better technology platform, a better business model. I was informed that the business model actually is now making money, which that's not my purview to talk about. That's for the Mobike folks to talk about. But that's all good news. So I think we're actually still in the relatively early stages of the sharing economy. The transportation one, going from cars to bikes, I think people are getting smarter around the fact that you still need to maintain the bike. The company needs to maintain the bike. With the car, the wonderful thing about an Uber driver or Lyft driver, they go home at night, they wash their car, they clean the car. The company doesn't do that. The company doesn't pay them a dime for that. And so that's really the idea of having a heavy capital asset, but someone else is responsible for the maintenance. That's a good model. The Airbnb guys, if you can get into that IPO, get into that IPO. It's going to be spectacular. I don't care about the price. I would buy that regardless of the price. I'm just a huge believer in what they're doing. But the further down the chain you get in terms of the cost of that capital asset, the more important it is that someone's sharing those expenses. And I think Mobike is probably as far along as the two are probably the furthest along in terms of really figuring out that business model. But I think that's the key. Is that, if you find VCs, because VCs are terrible, they're lemmings most of the time. And so they look for a trend, and then they just have to chase, and everyone has to have their company. You can't, how many times do you tell, VCs are such a hard time saying, we missed it. That sector ran away from us, it got too expensive, we're just not going to do it.
Yeah, like the travel sites, the e-commerce sites,
the
delivery sites.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is from SoftBank was involved in a lot of some of the early bubbles. And so I think that you had a bubble in bikes, you just had too much capital, and it wasn't rational. That'll normalize, and you'll have blown up billions of dollars, but it's okay, because the remaining assets will be worth a lot of money.
I've heard people say that we're really in, that we're in a bubble economy now, it's going to burst soon, and VC is partly to blame, because VCs are just tossing money out. Unicorns, decacorns.
VCs are such a small amount of the economy. I mean, when you think about it, venture capital, all venture capital this year globally would be $130, $140 billion. It's nothing. It's nothing. I mean, in the grand scheme, what good VCs do are find people with new models that aren't just copycats of everyone else, and then give them enough capital to see if that idea actually works. And there's not enough of what I would call true risk capital. There's never enough of that, but there is too much copycat money.
What do you make of this new ICO model of investing? Everybody knows what that is, right? The initial coin offerings?
I honestly
Anyone here participated in one of those? Oh, quite a few, actually. Okay.
I have absolutely no idea. That is something that I have heard about them, I've read about them. I can't give you any rational, any value-added comments at all.
Okay.
I'm not in the Jamie Dimon school that it's all a scam. I'm not in that quite that extreme. But I own one Bitcoin, and I was given that.
And when did you buy that?
I was given that at $750. And so I'm actually quite happy. And but if there are buyers at 19, what did it close at today?
17.
I'm not going to keep it. Or I might just keep it for the entertainment value of saying, well, I had this coin for 30 years or something, and pass it on to my kids' or something like that. But Bitcoin will have value, but it's the blockchain technology that has the real value.
Right. Did you have a question there in the red shirt typing away now?
Yeah, I believe someone told me that if you had invested in every ICO last year, you would have made 16x. So Not so bad, really.
Yeah, if you can get out of them. And so the question is, I've actually invested
Very
in,
liquid.
I've been tired. It's very liquid?
Very liquid.
Well, then you should have done it.
They're not liquid.
You don't want to.
I don't think a lot of this stuff's liquid.
They're not liquid.
Yeah, so,
Which
I
one
invested in
did
10 of them. They're
Which
none of them
one
liquid.
wasn't liquid for you?
800 of the 1,000, or no, actually, 980 of the 1,000 are not liquid. Only the top 20 are liquid.
well, I actually love the deal. What's the cryptocurrency deal that it's a company that went public based on the premise of trading Bitcoin. So it's actually a trading platform that went public and became worth more than Bitcoin, and then collapsed 70%, but the founder is still worth $4 billion, and the founder now is worth $3 billion, and there is literally no rationale for this business to exist. There's no asset base in this business whatsoever. So, I mean, if you're smart enough to time the market and get in front of the tulip mania, you'll make a lot of money. Most people aren't that smart.
Like in the beginning days of the internet, all these companies or investors who invested in the Baidus, Alibabas, Tencent of those days, they made a lot of money, but those later on didn't so much. Who do you see coming up as the next Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent? Who are you betting on from China?
Okay, so you know the answer to that question.
I don't.
Xiaomi. And so Xiaomi is a company, so we're an investor, and we were an investor in the Series A in Xiaomi. And the company, and the reason I think they'll be very successful, there's a couple. So Meituan Dianping is raising money at $3 billion and $26 billion break. And that's the kind of Yelp / meal service, and now they're launching other businesses. They have such a large user base, they probably wind up being valuable. The thing I like about Xiaomi was the founder was given a really hot hand in the 2011-12 timeframe. The company was growing like crazy. The banks all wanted to take him public. He said no. And since we were investors, so we asked him why, and the rationale was really thoughtful. The rationale was, look, we know Huawei is going to come out with a phone. We know Vivo and Oppo are coming out with phones. The phone space is going to get incredibly crowded. It's going to be impossible to differentiate us against the sheer phones, and we need more time to build out the ecosystem, we need more time to build out the App Store side of the business, and we need more time to do the international expansion. Turns out, today, the App Store part of their business is about 10% of revenue, and their revenue this year will be about 30–40% up over last year. About 10% of revenue, very profitable. The ecosystem business, which they have 56 different electronic products that they've launched into the Xiaomi brand, that's 15% roughly of revenue. That is profitable. They are the top 3 handsets in India. Not the top 1, the top 3 handsets are all Xiaomi handsets. So he was right to wait. And I think that when you think about the leadership and the discipline it took to literally turn down the windfall they would have had a few years ago and delay for us. So I would put a lot of bet on Xiaomi. And then there's a whole slew of healthcare companies